Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to this very special session with our Secretary, Shri Arun Goyal, our Secretary from the Department Ministry of Heavy Industries. Sir, a very hearty welcome to you, and we are very honored with your presence today. I must mention to you that, we had probably one of the best sessions this time around in terms of logins. We've crossed 4,000 people who listen to us, and they're waiting to listen to you now. Without much ado, I request our President to formally welcome you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a great pleasure to welcome a very distinguished Secretary of Heavy Industries, Shri Arun Goyal ji. Sir, I had the privilege of hosting you when you inaugurated the Auto Expo in Feb 2020 in the physical world. Since then, due to the pandemic, we are in a digital era. But compliments to you that as a secretary, you have been tirelessly striving for a cause and encouraging us to localize, move up the value chain, and transition to the electric mobility. Congratulations are due to you and your team for the recent announcement of the PLI on advanced chemistry cell battery storage and the changes in the FAME2 scheme, which are indeed enabling steps towards creating a sustainable and vibrant ecosystem for electric mobility in India. We now eagerly await the PLI for auto and auto components to make our industry globally competitive, enhance our exports, and also deeply localized. Sir, may I now invite you for your kind address, please.
Good afternoon, friends. Thank you very much, Deepak ji and Vinny ji, for giving me an opportunity on behalf of ECMA to be with you this afternoon. It's always a pleasure to be with the auto community because I hold auto as one of the biggest success stories of our country, and we are really proud of you. But when we are proud of somebody, we also have high expectations. So like you have from us, we have from you, but both you and we are one. We are India. So I don't think any other industry in our country has seen as much growth from say 1985, when we were at 1.44 lakhs. Today, we are about 35 lakhs. So this is a growth which is phenomenal and hasn't been seen by any other sector. Today, as all of you know, we are number one in the world in 2- and 3-wheelers, tractors, and number 5 in passenger and commercial vehicles. It's a matter of pride when we look at the auto component industry size, which from financial year 16 at $38.6 billion has grown to $56.9 billion in financial year 19, which is a compounded annual growth rate of 8.3%. You are employing 51.8 lakh people directly, besides the associated workforce of more than 1 crore. So this is a sector which is a robust sector, which is vital for India's economy. Without growth in auto, no country's economy can grow. This is what we have seen over the last 100 years of the greatest economies of the world. But let's look at a bit other side also. Now, in 80s, we saw Suzuki coming to India. So in terms of Japanese company going out, it was pretty early, we should say. It's more than 3.5 decades. Today, of the $37 billion imports into Japan auto, India is at 0.4. So we are nearly exporting less than $500 million to Japan, whereas China is exporting to Japan 12.8 billion. And I don't think the Japanese went to China before us. Probably it must have been the same time or almost the same time. But if you look at the bigger economies, say US, which has imports of 197 billion, Mexico neighboring obviously has 60 billion, but China there is 33 billion, and India 3.7. Let's look at the figure of China. Thailand is exporting 1.9 billion into China. Mexico is exporting 1.8 billion worth to China, but we are at 0.4. Germany, the East European countries like Slovakia are at 5.2 billion exports to Germany of their total kitty of 128 billion, and we are at 1.1 billion. So these figures tell us both that we are very low in terms of value, which we are, because when we say number one in the ranking of the units, but when we look at the value terms, Indian auto industry is at number 11 in the world. But it also shows that there's a tremendous scope. Not that you have not been doing good. In terms of export, from 2011 auto components were at $6.7 billion, they have grown to 15 billion. So which is a very good rate of growth today. OEMs and components export something like $27 billion. But this is less than 2% of the global automotive trade. We need to look at what path we should be taking for ensuring a geometric growth in our production and subsequent exports. Now, if we look at in value terms, the advanced automotive technologies in the Indian auto sector comprise just 3%. Globally, they comprise 18%. And they are expected to go up to 30% by 2030. So this is the area which we haven't touched much. In terms of India, we know in auto components, our exports are into the engine thing, the transmission, powertrain, auto electrics, and auto electronics. But in these sectors, we are not growing at the desired pace, and we do not grow, we'll miss the bus. So we have, as you know, insufficient penetration of advanced automotive technologies in the Indian auto manufacturing ecosystem. We lack economies of scale. We lack reliable supplier bases. So we need big investment to create the desired ecosystem to encash this gap. But parallelly, if we see the ICE era is facing the biggest disruption, which it did not in the last 100 years. The shifting to alternate and greener energy sources. Many of the European MNCs have already announced by 2026 they'll be shifting entirely. So if we do not have such ecosystem, which we do not have as on today, what is going to happen? Our import into the Indian auto is going to increase. Now we know in the ICE sector, we are almost 90% indigenized. But if we look at the EVs, it's not even 50%. If the growth happens the way it is likely to happen, and our industry does not shift into the new generation technologies, these greener things like battery electric and fuel cell vehicles, or the advanced automotives which are going to be used more and more in terms of connected vehicles or the features, we shall be left behind. Now this requires a lot of focus of our auto industry on engineering and product development. We have cost disabilities in sectors. Vis-a-vis, if we see the competitors in Southeast Asia or Eastern Europe, we have had detailed interactions with you. We have got data from you. As you know, the PLI, which you said on the auto, all these factors are under consideration. We are seeing ways and means how the supply chains, which are virtually non-existent in our countries, be those in terms of advanced automotive technologies or of the greener energy like electric or fuel cell vehicles, how we can incentivize the Indian industry, how we can match the cost disabilities which you face, so that those supply chains can be created fairly fast and our dependence on imports, even with the change in technologies, does not go up. But you have to bring in new investments. This cannot happen with the existing idle capacities. You know it because the supply chains do not exist in our country. So we need new attitude amongst you, new approach amongst you, because as I said, this is the biggest disruption in the 100 years of auto industry. What Indian auto industry has seen since mid-80s, that era is over. So you have to reposition yourself. It cannot be the business as usual. There are more challenges, but you are capable to meet those because we have all the requisites for having engineering and product development. In this regard, I talked to you earlier also, some of you were there, that Ministry of Heavy Industries has created 6 tech platforms in association with IIT Madras, CMTI, BHEL, HMT, ARI and ICAT. There are more than 50,000 users on those platforms. These platforms bring together all the users, be it the student, the academician/researcher, the engineer working in auto industry or related industries, and the entrepreneurs. So some of you have hosted grand challenges on these platforms. We expect more and more of you to come and host your problems so that the resource which we have available in terms of human resource, that is available along with the physical resources which we have across country. They are also hooked onto these platforms so that the problems posed are solved. Now we are going to go a step further. So selected academic institutes or industrial bodies will be acting as accelerators for development of such technologies. The accelerators will identify domains and select companies into a cohort based on the present basket of imports, maybe by value, volume, or criticality. They will facilitate development of indigenous technologies from the concept stage through development, trial, and testing of prototypes up to commercialization of the same. We are proposing 10 such accelerators in the first phase who will lead innovative concept of enhancing and manufacturing capabilities of local industries. Each accelerator will work with the established centers of excellence, common engineering facilities centers, and tech platforms, which I talked about. The COEs and CEFCs will provide capital infrastructure for the accelerator to be used on a need basis for prototyping, testing, and validation. The tech portals will be used to connect to potential resource and vendor base for the supply chain for the product being developed. Each accelerator will run 2 cohorts for the 5-year period. Each cohort will consist of 8 to 10 companies and will run for a cycle of 2.5 years. We expect at least 200 new indigenous products to be commercialized during this period of 5 years of the scheme. So I invite all of you to come forward, host the problems on these platforms, and be a part of cohorts so that the engineering and product development, which we have not been able to do on the desired scale, we are able to do so that in the change scenario which we are going to face on the global scene, Indian auto becomes better equipped to face that, and rather we can increase our share in the global exports from 2 to 4% in the next 5 to 6 years. With this hope, I wish all the members of ECMA all the very best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for that very profound address and urging the industry to export more. In fact, we have set a target for ourselves to double our exports from $15 billion to $30 billion in next 5 years. That apart, you urge the industry to focus on advanced technologies and also focusing on green technologies. Sir, and you also mentioned about the accelerators for technology development. Sir, I wish to make a submission to you that ACMA has its own Center for Excellence, and I would like to collaborate with the ministry and offer ourselves among the accelerators. I would like to work with your team to see how we can work towards fructifying this and making sure that the component industry makes ample contribution to development of indigenous technology. So thank you once again for gracing us today, and I much appreciate your support and guidance. So thank you, and Jai Hind.
Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of a very, very exciting day. I hope you all had a great session. You've taken home a lot of learnings, and I'm sure you want to reflect on them. You can connect with us should you ever need any help on the PwC study or the other knowledge reports, should you wish to download them or have not been able to. And with those words, I now invite our President, Mr. Deepak Jain, for his final words. Deepak, words of closure.
Thank you, Vinny. As I conclude the 61st ACMA annual session, I want to once again express my deep gratitude to all our stakeholders. I'm truly humbled that ACMA has given me an opportunity to serve the industry in one of the most volatile and disruptive times during the past 2 years. I personally have witnessed that through collaboration, we became more resilient. I am confident that our auto components sector will continue to have a single-handed focus on enhancing our competitiveness by engaging and aligning more closely with our customers, and have faith in our government and policy makers so that we can take a rightful place in the global value chain. Thank you once again for joining us today. Namaste and Jai Hind.